know why this always says publish YouTube broadcast 30%, but we're going with it. So hey, I'm Steve, K5ATA. Welcome to Goodgame Ham Radio. Tonight's kind of a different kind of night. Before we get started though, and before it disappears off the screen, Don D, thanks for that $20 super chat to kick it off. Today is all about the Padawans. Trying to get them that 7300 and see what gear we can come up with to modernize their shack. We're getting close to the 7300 on that fund, and so we are almost there. Andy Cowley, 99. Thank you for that super chat. Let's see, that's in pounds, so I do appreciate that. So Don D, appreciate it. Andy, appreciate that as well. A couple other quick shout outs to some folks that in the YouTubers bunch we have a Discord. We all hang out kind of on Josh's Ham Radio Crash Courses Discord, and we kind of have a section of that where we coordinate some things. And as soon as my stream was over last week, I had an email from a viewer, and he said, "Hey, I really want the Padawans to get that radio, so here's what I'm willing to do." And he agreed to match all super chats up to a total of $200. So I was obviously just slightly pumped. And threw it out there on the Discord, and some folks instantly started, just making those donations to make it happen. So before we get too far into this, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to them. Josh Nass, Ham Radio Crash Course KI6 NAZ, appreciate it. He wasted absolutely zero time, threw $100 to the Padawans. Kyle Craig, Alpha 0Z, he's got a great channel as well. He threw us $20. Evan Hartman, who's one of the admins over on Josh's Discord, he threw us a super chat as well. And K6ARK, he sent Baofangs. Now, you might be thinking that's a Baofang, but no, not to be outdone. This box, by the way, weighs probably 10 times what his normal radio kit is when he goes up the mountain. He sent 8 of these guys, because one of the things I try to do with the Padawans is as soon as they get their license, I try to put a radio in their hands. I don't want any disconnect between that. When that call sign hits, I want them talking, and he definitely helped with that, because I normally have to buy, I normally stick with buying the UV5Rs, but these are UV82s. Solid little radio. We're getting these things programmed up, but I'm going to talk about how we're going to do that here in a minute. So Adam, appreciate that, K6ARK. And Eric Ramirez also sent us some money directly as well. So, and I've got super chats already rolling that I need to kind of back up and check. So let's see. Andy, thank you for that. Philip, wow, Philip, thank you, $50. I'm trying to write these down because I am old and I will forget them. One of the other Dons with $100. Yep, we're halfway there. Steve K04AFL, appreciate that. Smoking Ape in the house, the man who I won't be able to send one of the cool little stickers to that we now have, because no one knows where in Alabama the Smoking Ape lives. Oklahoma Ham Radio, appreciate that. KE0TEV, appreciate that. Bill Crow. Bill, if you didn't know, guys, he has another school club over in, help me out, Oklahoma, I think, if I remember correctly. And he just scored, obviously it's a sad occasion when there's a silent key, but the family afterwards apparently donated all of the Ham's gear to that school club. So he's got, I forget what all the gear is. I know there's a 7300 in there and several other things. So Bill, if you want to throw that in the chat, I'm sure people are curious about what all you got in there. Craig, WJ6F, thank you for that. Man, I got to write these things down. I'm going to fall behind in a hurry. Clark, I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't done the math that fast. It's going a little bit faster than I thought. So let me try to catch up. Before we get going too far, if y'all haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, hit that like button. There's an Amazon affiliate link down below where I put stuff that we use here and stuff that I use in the shack with the Padawans, and just other stuff that I think is kind of cool. It doesn't cost you anything. Just makes us a little bit of money. Patreon link is down below as well, and we now have channel memberships. They just open those up for us, so we have channel memberships down below as well. So if you'd like to join and support us that way, we would definitely appreciate that. Let's see, stuff that, I'll be honest with you, I'm a little off my rocker with that many things hitting at one time. So, Abe's in there saying, do the math, son, but easier said than done, Abe. It was moving. So one of the things I kind of wanted to talk about was some of the stuff that I'm going to do with the Padawans, and if I'm trying to talk and type so I can keep up with this stuff at the same time. And 5 SKT 4 AFL. Some of the stuff that I want to try to do this year, and some of it I think I did a good job with last year, and some of it obviously I need to improve on a little bit, is antenna building. I think we did an okay job last year with antenna building stuff. We Mike Smith, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Bring your resident Padawan to help with. I really should, but she's working at the Chili's gig, and I think she's in there doing homework. So she's gonna actually try to keep up the work schedule that she's got and keep up with the AP classes and stuff. We're gonna see how that works out. Philip's got a shirt just like this. Boom. Yeah, you can pick up this shirt at somebody dropped that link for 2.0's channel in there. I'd appreciate that. But 86DM Dennis, I was just about to give you a shout out for your podcast anyway, man, but I appreciate that. So thank you. If you have not checked out 86DM Dennis's new podcast he's got out, it's available on all the different podcast platforms. It's a great podcast, and I was listening to it yesterday on my way up to my mother-in-law's. Interesting situation there. The hurricanes, plural, used to be plural, were both heading towards New Orleans, and so last Sunday, my wife and I just, hopped in the truck and went down there. My mom lives just near New Orleans in Slidell. At the time, we weren't sure what was going to hit where, so better safe than sorry. We made the trip down, picked Mom up, brought her back, and she's actually staying with my mother-in-law, which is cool because now I get to go over to my mother-in-law's, have dinner, and see my mom, which is, I've been over there every night this week since, and kind of cool. I get to see my mother-in-law and my mom at the same time, eat some chicken or whatever they happen to cook. Unfortunately, I do have to take her back Saturday, so we're trying to convince her to move up here because then we can see Mom more often and I can get her chicken and dumplings. But yeah, I agree. Wise decision. And while it looks like Slidell might have been spared the brunt of that storm, it's always better to err on the cautious side with that stuff, because especially with two of them, and Laura kind of stepped up her game there at the end. I mean, it's like a category 4 right now. So I gotta get the last few people on my list here of folks. So, but also a viewer kind of mentioned something to me that said, hey, something that they would like to see on the channel, and I hadn't even thought about it. I teach school and I do this for a living, but for some reason, watching other people's streams and stuff, I don't really connect it. He had mentioned that there are times where, we as YouTube folks and whatnot use terms that, we know what they mean, but not necessarily everybody else does. And he had said, for example, watching Josh's video on handhelds, he said PTT, and well, most of us know what a PTT is, and like I said, you would think I'd know this because I explained to my Padawans what a PTT is, but for those of you who don't, so what we're going to start doing is we're going to have like a ham word of the week to kind of get down to some of those basic things that some of these folks don't or maybe don't know. So PTT, just so you know, if you do know, great. If you don't, that's just a little button on the side of a radio, on the side of a microphone, and it stands for push to talk. So, if somebody's saying, hey, what's what's talking about a PTT. That's the push to talk button. They may look a little different on different radios. In fact, some of them, yeah, here's your UV5 Army there for you, TO. Some of them have dual PTTs and whatnot. So, but just so you know, that's what folks mean. If you're watching a video trying to figure out, what handheld you're going to get, which is something that a lot of new hams do. They get their ticket and they start looking for what radio they're going to buy, and they're watching, and they might not know what that is. So that's what it is. PTT stands for push to talk. So every week I'm going to throw another one of those, one or two little terms in there that we didn't, or maybe somebody didn't know or whatnot, and we'll just go from there. Dan Burak, hope I'm saying that right, Burak. Appreciate that, but thank you. So anyway, stuff that I wanted to make sure that I did this year with the Padawans. We're going to do some antenna building. Last year we started building some roll-up dipoles because we live in a relatively rural area, and so not all of the Padawans can hit the repeater from their house. So we started building roll-up dipoles, and we kind of got coroned out. So, well, good. I got it. Appreciate it. I'm glad to know I didn't massacre that. So basically, just buying ladder line. I'm going to have to pick up some more ladder line this year. We went through most of what we had last year and whatnot. But that's one thing that I think we did a decent job with last year, but I want to build more of. We're going to build some dipole antennas. So I'm hoping this year, because we had so many kids or Padawans get their technician license, I'm hoping to get some upgraded to general. Then, start building some dipoles or some end-fed half waves. In fact, some of them are going to be building an end-fed half wave this coming week. Hang on, I need a little bit of that lifeblood there. But that's the next thing that we're going to try to work on with them, is how to do those things. And as Smoking Ape says, they're going to have to wind some toroids. So that'll be fun to do. I'm going to try to get a few Padawans that I can get some film with. I have to be careful with that at school, but some of them are their parents work there, stuff like that, so I can get them to sign off and maybe get them doing some of the building, and most of it would be from the back or whatever anyway. Just always better safe than sorry. But I think that's a cool skill that I wish I had been taught when I was in school, is building antennas and stuff like that. Don Gibbs, yeah, in fact, that's one of the things I had on the agenda for last year, and we just never got to it, with getting knocked out a little early. The tape measure Yagis. I started collecting, Harbor Freight tape measures, and we're gonna try to get that going, and we just didn't yet. So, obviously, a lot of the plans that we have are going to be partially dependent on how things play out with school, and if it's going to keep going. Right now, the plan at our school is on September 8th, everybody's coming back to school. We're in school right now, kind of this hybrid half and half thing. When I say everybody who chose traditional school is coming back to school. There are still a lot of kids that are just doing like virtual school, and they will stay online for what I guess the entire year. I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, everybody's going to be in the same room, and that's kind of where we're going with that, which that's got its good and its bad. I mean, I'll have plenty of kids to be able to do projects with. I just have to be extra careful with keeping distances and stuff like that. Next thing I want to make sure that we do with the Padawans is, and I did a good job with this last year, I think, is teaching them to solder. I have a crop of, it's 22 new ones that I have not taught any of this stuff to. So they're gonna start learning how to solder and how to do some basic kit building and stuff like that. Don, I appreciate that. Send that on. I'd like that. So plans for the elk replica there, but we had good luck with the Elenco FM receiver kits that I bought last year. The only problem with those is they get a little pricey, I guess, when you buy that quantity. I always end up buying extras, and what I try to do is I try to have 2 kids work on 1 kit just to save cash. But then I always have to buy extras because inevitably, somebody's gonna jack something up and it's not quite gonna be right, or something's gonna. I mean, they're 12 or 13 years old, so expect something to get messed up. And rather than them have it get messed up and be like, "Oh man, this sucks, I can't use this," I'd rather have another kit, even if it's just to pull parts out of if they screw something up or lose it, or maybe if they completely from Tio's awesome dudettes. Appreciate that, Tio. Um, Lost my train of thought with the toads, but oh yeah, having extra kits around. I don't want a kid to be like, well, this sucks, mine didn't work, and then they're done with it. So, and then we're thinking about doing some little pixie kits. I've got a few Altoid tins, and I've had a couple of those little kits there for a hot minute, and just hadn't built them yet. But watching K6ARK's videos about just some of the stuff he does with a little Altoids 10 size radio, I mean, that's kind of cool stuff. And some of these kids, that I can see them getting into that, which if they're going to do radio like that, then I'm going to need to do CW with them. I started CW sometime during the Rona, and it kind of fell off there for a while, and I need to get back into it myself. So I knew it years and years ago when I had to test from a general, but I need to pick it back up, and so it's kind of a way to force myself to pick it back up too if I'm having the kids do it. K6 there, yeah, I can check that real quick. Hang tight. So appreciate that. I like people who help. But so yeah, Long Island CW is who I was doing with. Great group, by the way. If my daughter took it, To's daughter took it with them, and as far as I don't have a whole lot of experience with any of the other groups, so I can't speak for or against them, but I can tell you the Long Island CW Club is off the chain good group. So I'm going to see if I can't work with them, maybe see if we can figure something out to get some of the Padawans that are interested in learning CW going there. One thing I want to do is I want to give them a little more choice in what area they want to explore. Last year was kind of a railroad, in that I didn't have a whole lot of resources and whatnot, so I'm trying to spread it around a little bit, I guess, this year, so the kids have a little bit more choice in what they want to try to do and what they want to try to learn. So any other ideas that y'all have for kit kind of stuff, or anything to help with soldering, stuff like that, throw it in there, because I definitely am shopping for ideas at the same time. Like I always say, I'm the first one to tell you that I can always still learn from other people. So I know Bill, he's teaching something out in Oklahoma, and he's got his ham radio club. So any other ideas y'all have for for kit building and stuff like that, that would be greatly appreciated, because like I said, we're not sure where things are going to go. So I do already have some kids asking about soldering and stuff. I left soldering irons out just to kind of tease them, I guess, and it worked. A couple of them are already asking, "Hey, can I just buy one of those at Home Depot?" I'm like, "Yeah," or you can, go to Amazon and buy one or whatever. But that's kind of the way I like to do it. I like to tease a little bit and say, when I was talking, to Uzbekistan or something, just throw something weird out there and have them ask questions. If you get them to ask the questions first rather than it coming from me first, it hooks a little bit better. Another thing I started to think about, that little heart thing that Tio did would be good. That little heart thing that Tio did would be good. I may have just not. Bill says he's using Arduino and breadboards. I have some Arduinos and I have some Raspberry Pis. In fact, Don Izzo sent me a Raspberry Pi also, that we're going to break out and use. It's been a couple years since my kids did anything with the Arduinos. In fact, the last kid that was messing with the Arduinos finally took his technician test. I guess it's been about a month now, he took it with a Glarg. So shout out for the online testing. Woo, go Glarg. It was a desolder a Commodore 64 and make an 8-hour video. So, but Norman, appreciate that. Thank you very much. So I'm gonna have to add the name to the list here. I guess it's Canadian dollars. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's got to be. It can't be anything else. So appreciate that, Norman, and welcome to the chat. I don't recall seeing you in here before, so I appreciate you being here. Let me back up real quick. It brings up a good point. Make sure see who I've got, who I might have missed. If I missed you, I promise it was not intentional. There for a minute, stuff was just scrolling crazy fast. So OHR, I'm not sure I said hey, Ham Radio 2.0 is in the house. And said hit the thumbs up. Yeah, I would much appreciate that. That helps with the wonderful algorithm that YouTube has. So already got Jim, Andy. I think I've got everybody else in here that I hit. So all right, so just for the music. So let's see. Another thing I want to make sure I do, and this actually comes from, I guess I get a lot of emails from people asking, it's the new drinking game. I get a lot of emails from folks asking how do I program my radio, and I'm not alone in that. I know most of the YouTubers bunch get the same emails, and I imagine anybody who puts themselves out there gets the same emails. You know, stuff like, hey, how do I program this? How do I make a code plug? How do I program my Baofeng? And stuff like that. So one of the things that I did, honestly, I just didn't do last year, which, you know, if I could kick myself in the butt, then I would, but I'd probably fall over and then you would laugh, is I need to make a point of teaching them how to program their radio. Last year, now granted, last year was the first year that I've had that many Padawans get licensed at once. Years before that, you know, I'd get 3 or 4 at a time kind of thing, and then last year was, you know, I think 14 in the first round, and then the next month I think I had another 13 or 12 or something crazy. And so it was all of a sudden I just had a mass quantity of Padawans with a license. So I need to teach them how to program their radio. So, you know, rather than last year, all I showed them was I had already had all the information in there and I just plugged it in and hit the button and they watched it. And ooh, ah, oh. In reality, they didn't learn anything about how to program their own. Especially when it comes to any of the digital modes, you know, stuff like that, having to make a code plug or whatever. I just didn't do it. So on that part, that's my bad. I'm going to own that, and you know, we're going to make a point of, before I let them leave with the radio, I guess I'm going to teach them how to program it. So another thing that I want to make sure I do with them this year is some sort of POTA-like activity. I don't think I'm going to be able to truly take them to do POTA because as of right now, all field trips are still, you know, considered no. But wow, Andy just said Laura is now a Category 5 hurricane, so she got big in a hurry. So she's been spending too much time on the buffet. But that makes me glad I went down and got Mom. I'll tell you that. So, but K8MRD, appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. So, what was I saying? Oh, I want to do some kind of POTA-like activity, but unfortunately, like I said, I'm not going to be allowed to load them on a bus and take them anywhere to POTA. So I think I might just do FOTA instead. I could walk them down to the football field and put it on the air. So, hey kids, I'm going to be... Yeah, and you know, I thought about that. That would be an option. And, you know, as long as I'm not saying, hey, it's any kind of required thing, I can probably... I'm fortunate. My administration is extremely, I guess, lenient or understanding of the whole ham radio program. I mean, the only reason I get to teach it is my principal. And, you know, last year when I asked I kind of asked and I kind of backed away, expecting him to say no, and he was like, "Absolutely. In fact, I kind of want to learn that." So I was like, "Okay." So that's a good point. I can show them how to become hunters too, Don. I hadn't thought about that one. So that's another thing I'm going to actually do is, show them some of the SDR radio stuff and stuff like that. So let's see, we're so far going to get to Depoto. We're going to do a special event. Yeah, and there's the school club roundup. I forget when that is. For some reason, I want to say it's like January or something. I'm going to try to do that. Get them on the air with that. With most of them, Izzo's in the house. You must have had your ears burning, Izzo. We were just talking about you. But with all the, we don't know what's going to happen, where kind of stuff, I'm going to have limited opportunities to get kids out on HF. So I want to find a way to get them on HF. So school club roundup, that's another way I'm going to try to do it. Get them on the air, get them to get a taste of that HF and see, what it's all about. That's what hooked my daughter. She got her technician and took her out to a POD activation where she had to use my call sign and couldn't use her own call sign to, do her PODA or our PODA activation. And next thing you know, she's like, no, that's not going to happen. So she got her own, general. And that's kind of what I want to do. I want to, get them to buy into it. Izzo, appreciate it, ma'am. Thank you very much. But that's kind of where I'm going with that aspect of it. Those of you who just came in, I'm trying to keep notes of who's actually throwing it. The beginning got scary. It got busy in a hurry. Yeah, Don Izzo, PODA goosebumps. And PODA's a lot of fun. In fact, I was just telling somebody in email before this started that, PODA, even if it's not truly PODA, it's not a PODA park, just going outside and playing radio is fun. I mean, throw an antenna up over a tree. Jason, W5IPA, thank you, dude. I appreciate that. So the Padawans definitely do. So, but that can be a lot of fun. Now, granted, if it's an actual PODA park and you self-spot yourself or somebody spots you or whatever, the instant pile-up is definitely a good thing, and that's kind of what I wanted to have happen with the Padawans. I want them to get out there and get a taste of it and tell me, this is what I want to do, and then ask how to upgrade or how can they upgrade and whatnot. So, but Randall Hensley, $20. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that very much. The Padawan Shack is definitely going to get a nice upgrade this year. So, guys, I'll be honest with you. I did not expect this kind of turnout for this. So, thank you all very much for this. This is awesome. I can't wait to go and tell them. So, I already talked about CW. I definitely need to, get them doing CW. I kind of got my cheat sheet list in case I lost track of things. But it's like I think T.O. said earlier, CW is more fun with a buddy. That's how Jerica and Leah learned. There were a little three of them, and Alana, I call her Moana, but it's okay. The three of them were in CW class together, and they took CW together, and then they ended up being great friends. They Zoom. Gosh, I think they Zoom every single night. So, Joseph Collins, thank you very much. So cool what you're doing for the Padawans. Yeah, and I'm privileged to get to do it for the Padawans. That's the cool part is, I get to actually go teach school and teach a hobby that I love at the same time. So, and it's something that hopefully, most of them take to and take with them and just keep it rolling. So, fox hunts or transmitter hunts, yeah, YL gang, yeah, they're creating their own little YL gang, and gosh, there's several of them in that little Zoom thing they're doing now. To I'm not sure how many are in there. I went in there yesterday and said something to Jerica, and there's 5 or 6 of them in there at the same time now. So, which is a great thing. I mean, we've got, not only are we trying to get, or am I getting, kids at school to get licensed, we're getting, a bunch of young ladies licensed. I mean, that's 6 girls. I think they either all have their license or they're studying for their license, and they're making plans to do stuff like, meet up at Dayton next year. So, they can, they're gonna spread the hobby better than I am, because they're that age, and folks listen to folks their own age. So I guess that's part of what I'm after. Got 2 more on the way. Who else is on the way? That's a good problem to have. So yeah, in fact, when Jerica first started talking about trying to start up a YL net and then whatnot, we were talking about DMR or D-Star or something like that, and it's one of those, you've got to get the one that they can all do. So, Echo Link's an option. Echo Link's not my favorite option, but it works. I mean, ideally, I would love it to be, a digital voice on a handheld or something like that. But at this point, we'll take what we can get, and the key is get them engaged, get them going. Don't do it as the fastest wins. Do it as everyone finds it, and then a random drawing. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. In fact, I think I mentioned last week, my wife is actually writing. Well, I say my wife and I. She wrote the main storyline, and I'm filling in some of the other stuff in there. Ham radio fiction, and that's one of the. She's got a book that's just about done. I'm going through it now and adding some of the technical tidbits, I guess, in there. But that's something that I don't believe we have enough of, is kids, especially younger kids. They read fiction, and I mean, I still read fiction, but the old Cynthia Wall books and stuff like that when I used to teach 4th grade, 15 years ago, whatever it was, 16 years ago, I could throw a Cynthia Wall book at a kid, and then they're like, hey, what is this radio that they're using? Then I could talk to them, and I got a few 4th graders licensed. I think it was 5 of them. Gosh, that's been 16, 17 years ago now. So that's another thing that we're trying to do. There is some fiction out there. There's just not a whole bunch of it for kiddos that centers around ham radio. Somebody, you know what? I think it was in Sterling's thing last week that I mentioned that. Somebody gave me a name, and I wrote it down. I looked it up, but I've since forgotten it because I'm lacking sleep and coffee this week. So hang on. Had a 9th grader on DMR today for his first time on the radio. Like to have not got him off. Yeah, and that's one of the first things I did is I have an Anytone 878, and there's a hotspot at the school. We actually have the city or the club in our city has a DMR repeater, but I guess it's deaf as a post again. I used to be able to hit it from school, and I tried to hit it today and didn't work. So, but yeah, one of the first club meetings, in fact, the first club meeting that we had, that's what we did, is I turned that DMR radio on. We just turned it to the United States channel or talk group, and they were talking all over the country. And that, for a lot of these kids, was like, whoa, I'm doing that with this. And then, I threw an antenna in the tree on the next club meeting and got on HF, and I forget the fella's name. He's in Virginia. I've got his name written down at school. But he stayed on the radio for an hour talking to these kids just to make sure they had somebody to talk to on HF. What Baofeng radio model do I prefer for the kids? The only Baofeng model that I've used with the kids so far is the UV5R. Reason for that is because obviously, school budget, or usually my pocket budget, that's $22, $25. So I generally hand these out like candy. You weren't in here yet, but K6ARK sent us 8 of these things. UV82s, and so we're gonna put those to good use. As far as which one I prefer the one I can get. The one I can get into a kid's hand. It's I've got Don Izzo sent me a used Icom IC-72, which, by the way, Don, you had said that battery probably needed replacing. That battery's solid. I carried that thing around for 3 days just kind of testing it out, and that battery is solid, so it doesn't need it. So, but maybe Santa will come early, wink. So, like I said, yeah, equipment is definitely always welcome. So, I feel like I'm sitting here begging for cash, but well, I guess I am begging for cash. But if you have an old radio or something that you've just got sitting around and you want somebody to be able to use it, just throw it in the mail. I mean, the kids will use it, and I'm the Padawan. Sorry, I'm gonna get YouTube flagged for that. Fang Lives Matter. I'm staying clear of that. But hang on, I gotta drink some coffee. So, but yeah, that's a good idea on the transmitter hunt. Not make it a foot race. We used to do transmitter hunts at our club when I was in Dallas, and that's one of those. That is a bunch of fun. We did it all over the Southwest Dallas, so we were driving or with people who could drive and whatnot, and having a bigger map, I think, made it more interesting. But maybe I'll sell some pretzels for radios. So, but the first transmitter hunts are going to be small scale anyway. We're fortunate that our school is, well, up until this year, the entire thing is on one campus. So it's I don't even know how many acres. It's probably 30 acres, maybe a little bit more. And there's some buildings and stuff in there. I just need to put together a little transmitter, hide it somewhere, and get the kids to build their tape measure Yagis and go get it. So, but yeah, I like that idea because you're right. Otherwise, you get kids running around like crazy and not thinking things through. And I'd much rather them stop and think, try to get a bearing and draw a line. Do a little bit of figuring out rather than just chasing the other people that might be close. So, Tio says 2 different transmitter hunts. One where you can find it in any time frame, and one when you have to level up. What do you mean by leveling up? Like inside of give them a time limit kind of thing? So yeah, we had actually hoped that we were going to get to use the Civil Air Patrol's. Right, they've got a transmitter that they use for training stuff and stuff like that, but apparently they can't find it. So Mike wants more POTA contacts. Well, I'm trying to figure out a way to get them to go do some POTA stuff. So if we can do that, then we'll definitely post it. And I think it was Don Izzo that said just leave the POTA screen on the whole all day and just let the spots roll. That's actually a good idea. I'm gonna do that. The way we had to do school this year is normally I have a bunch of Windows computers on lab tables, and one kid to a computer, but they didn't want all the kids typing on the same computer and catching each other's cooties, so those all went away, and everybody has a Chromebook. But as a result, I have 24 Windows computers that I can just leave. That was you, buddy. Okay, well, sorry, Mike. Got you now, though. But I'm just going to leave that up on a screen and just leave that rolling. So that way, if I see Mike on the air spotted somewhere, I can maybe run outside and throw my antenna in a tree and see if I can get you. Right now, we don't have a permanent antenna up at the school. I have a G5RV, but I'm hesitant to put it up right now because I'm trying to get a different classroom. And, my maintenance folks at school, they're all for putting it up for me and whatnot. It's just I don't want to have them climb up, put it up, and then climb up and take it down and whatnot. So, I'm kind of waiting until then. I can just throw an antenna out the window and get them that way. So, Gosh, they have to use Windows. Yes, they had to. Well, now they're using all Chrome OS, so it's not Windows. I do have one um, old Mac computer in the classroom. It's one that came out of retirement out of the university, and they stripped the hard drive out, so I've got it plugged in by USB to an external hard drive to boot. But they can use that one on occasion, but not this year. They're not allowed to touch the keyboard. So hang on. I got to warm that up with the emergency coffee thermos. Oh, that's a good question, Mike. What logging software would I use? What do you use? That's the question. You know, I've watched your videos, and I'm not sure what logging software you use. So everybody seems to ask you that. Maybe you just don't explain that well. What do you use, Mike? But alrighty, let's see. Have I missed anybody? Or guys, make it more difficult by choosing weird locations like level 7 is parking garage. Yeah. I mean, I can choose once I can get them outside of school. Don, that's it's one of those things. The kids or the Padawans I have are all middle school age kid. Well, I do have some in high school now. I think my daughter's probably the only one that's driving. So it would have to be one of those, on a Saturday thing, which actually can work out well. If I do it on a Saturday and I say, you're going to have a parental unit to drive you around or something, then I can kind of, rope the parent into getting licensed too, maybe. That would be kind of cool. Hamlog. For some reason, I'm thinking maybe he uses Hamlog. See, our last POTA, I had to use Penlog because the battery died. And yeah, I'm not sure which computer he uses portable either. Oh, hey, KM4ACK. Didn't see you sneak in. I guess that was your sneak in. So, good to have you. We're just talking about stuff we're going to do and whatnot. So, maybe you do use Hamlog. I wonder if they make Bacon Log. Yeah, I think it's a laptop, though, he does that on. It's probably a Windows machine, knowing him. So, pen and paper. Well, that's what I went with last time was pen and paper. In fact, it was a pen and paper, and the paper was the back of Jerica's G90 manual. So, because that's what was there right then when the battery went kaput. So, folks who came in a little bit late, I'm going to show off we got stickers. So, yeah, all of y'all that help support the Padawans, I know it's not much, but I'm going to send you a sticker. So, I appreciate it. But, like I said, you can pick up the shirts at Ham Radio 2.0 sites hosting those. Somebody dropped it earlier. And then you can get other cool shirts, like the Smoking Ape shirt, stuff like that. He just had somebody, was it Rob's shirt he just put up there? He just dropped somebody else's shirt up there too. So definitely check that out. Goodgame Ham Radio, why is there no coffee mug radiating? There is a coffee mug radiating at the top, Dennis. Hang on. Let me get... Can you see it now? Whoa, there it is. Kyle's first. So, but yes, it does have the coffee mug radiating at the top. It's the design by Jerica, my child unit 74 Alpha. She came up with that months ago when we were talking about different logos and stuff for shirts and whatnot, and everybody was going out to Fiverr, and I don't want to think about how much I spent at Fiverr. It wasn't $5, I'll tell you that. Trying to get logos and talking to them about what I wanted, trying to put it into English that they understood and whatnot. I was having serious trouble getting the ideas across that I wanted. And so my kid walked by and she's like, "What is that?" And it was one of the Fiverr logos. And I was asked the logo they came up with, and she was kind of like, "Can I just make it for you?" And I said, "Yeah, give it a shot, kid." And she came out maybe 30 minutes later, and I told her what I was kind of looking for, and she's like, "Okay." She came out 30 minutes later, and that little coffee cup at the top was her idea completely. That wasn't mine at all. So, that's kind of cool. It's cool that not only do I have a cool logo and cool sticker, but my really cool kid designed it for me. So That's like bonus points. So let's see, who did I miss? Yes, that's the K5ATA trademark. In fact, I put one on the back of my truck this morning. They came yesterday, and I stuck one on the truck today. Then I stuck one on the classroom window, right under the NASA sticker. Maybe it's over the NASA sticker. I don't remember. So branding myself everywhere. Ape says his ape shirt's like catnip. That ape shirt's pretty solid looking though. So I'm gonna say. Also, Ham Radio Crash Course has some cool shirts over on his site too. Hamtactical.com. So there's some cool YouTubers merch out there and whatnot. So I'm slowly trying to collect all the other guys' shirts so I can sport it with pride. Yep, proud Papa Clark. I am a proud Papa because I have a really cool kid and she does ham radio. That makes her even cooler. I need a different tablet. Everything I try to load a logging program, Play Store won't load it, saying the products aren't compatible. What kind of tablet is it? So yeah, I'm definitely gonna stick with my fire helmet. I have not been up there. I had been up there this week. Well, no, that's not true. I had the house fire, but middle of the night, I'm not thinking about or house fire stuff. I'm not thinking about stickering a helmet. But yeah, it'll get a sticker too. And if I'm really sly, I'll stick one on the back of the engine. So nobody will notice it for a minute anyway. I need a DX Commander hoodie. Yeah, we gotta add some extra stuff other than just the shirts. You know, I've had people ask for coffee cups with the logo and stuff like that. That would be cool. I would drink out of one. Of course, I would drink out of pretty much any coffee cup as long as it had coffee in it. Not that Miller Lite crap. But Aldi Moore, hey man, didn't see you slide in. Appreciate you being here, dude. So let's see if I missed anybody else coming in because I've apparently missed a couple. Kyle was first again. That's always nice when Kyle's first. It makes him feel good. Let's see what else. I don't think I missed anybody else coming through. I don't think so. So any other ideas about stuff I can do with the Padawans? I feel like I've got a decent list of stuff to get started with. But get a tattoo on my head. I guess you meant head. I'm not sure that the spousal unit would appreciate a tattoo on my head of my logo. I may be forced to like grow hair, and that would be bad. Because I'm betting hair wouldn't grow. I don't know. Does hair grow through a tattoo? It's a good question. Maybe I could get a tattoo of hair. So 24 ounce. You know, I don't know how many ounces this coffee cup is. My wife had this made for Christmas, which is kind of cool. It's got my call sign and some little logos. There's my old timey logo there that we first came up with and whatnot. I'm not sure how many ounces that thing is, but it's about a third of a pot of coffee or so. So if you can do the math on that one, I'm not sure what size pot I have either. So, but yeah, there's some cool merch over there. If you want any of that, head over and check it out. If they get into CW, make some Arduino Ace beacon for propagation checking. That's something to think about. Yeah, I'm hoping that they take to CW, partly because, like I said, I need the accountability to make myself pick it back up. And you know, I kind of get stuck with if they're learning it, then I'm forced to go with them. So, which is good. It keeps me accountable. The spousal unit you're supporting your daughters. Yeah. We'll try that. Hang on. I'm gonna. I don't think I should yell that to her right now. It sounds like she might be on the phone with her mother-in-law. I may lose that fight. So I'll hit her with that after. But yep. So any other ideas on cool stuff to do? Like the big thing I want to make sure I do is some of the kit building stuff. I think a lot of them are gonna like the idea of Speak of the Devil. I was just about talk about K6ARK. A lot of them are going to like the idea of, you know, going out somewhere and taking a little Altoids 10 size radio and, you know, being able to throw something in the tree and actually make contacts. So, and it's something that they actually made, which is the really cool thing. So, still smells like mints. You know, that's more Sereno. How's the fund looking? Let me see how the fund is looking. I was trying to throw some. Yeah, I think we are. I think we're gonna make it with, in fact, maybe even enough to help absorb YouTube's 30% there, because YouTube likes to scrape their chunk off the top. So, but I'm teaching them how to use a multimeter. Bought a bunch of $10 ones to start with. Yeah, I did the same thing, and in fact, a couple weeks ago I talked about different equipment to have around the shack and whatnot, and I've always just used the cheap little multimeters to teach them. And then actually last weekend I was having to fix a transmission in Child Unit's car, and before I started dropping the valve body out of the transmission and stuff, I wanted to check a couple things, and I could get no resistance reading on one of my wonderful Harbor Freight or Centec or whatever that brand is multimeters, and the other one worked like a champ. So as soon as I showed that cheap Harbor Freight multimeter, Smoking Ape was like, no! And I mean, it was so loud I heard him from over in Alabama all the way to here. So I'm going to have to upgrade the game when it comes to multimeters. Even if I have fewer of them, get some higher quality ones. So somebody asked a question today. What am I doing for soldering irons? I've got a couple soldering stations, I guess, at school. One of them is that, what's that brand? Xtronic. It's an Xtronic station. It's linked in my Amazon store. It's actually really good. I like it. The other is I think it's a Weller, and it's okay. The rest of the soldering irons are the cheap little irons that came with those Elenco kits. So one goal I have this year is I'm definitely going to have to try to come up with more soldering stations as far as actually having adjustable temperature and stuff, because those cheap little irons, as a cheap iron is not always the best way to go with that. So we've learned that lesson, and I spent enough time being frustrated with cheap irons before. I don't want them to be frustrated. Tim, thank you for that, man. W8NGT, is that W8 Nugget? Because TO has ham nuggets. You can kind of make that work with that. So, but yeah, if you have recommendations for soldering irons, Don, I mean, keep in mind it's got to fit in a tight budget kind of thing. So, yeah, they give I don't know what kind of discount is it that they're giving to school. See, the one I have, I bought on Amazon with. In Mississippi, you get what's called a Education Enhancement Fund card, or whatever it calls for. I call it the EEF card because it's EEF, and it normally has a couple $300 on it, and so that's what I bought that with, and so that's probably how I'm going to end up having to get the irons. So we can use that on Amazon. Either solder or shoot and never go. Yeah, they've learned. Or I've learned the cheap irons, and I'll look at that, Josh. I've seen that. I've not used one, but I've seen those tossed around. So I don't forget, I'm going to write it down because I'm older than I look. I was told today. It's kind of nice. One of the guys at school said, what are you, mid-30s? And I was like, no, I'll be 50 in a year in a couple months. So ham nuggets are the best nuggets. Yeah, there's ham nuggets and there's turd nuggets. So I'll definitely take the ham nuggets every time. But yeah, I'll definitely have to look at those iron. Like I'm happy with that Xtronics one. If I can get something that's equally good or even better for similar money or even better money, then that's definitely where I want to go, because I have enough space to have 6 or 7 soldering stations in the room. Plus, it's always fun when other classes walk by my door and they smell solder kind of wafting out, and they think I lit the building on fire and whatnot. It's always entertaining. So, any other ideas folks have for stuff to do at school? I am obviously ready to I'm ready to get those kids back, man, because I've only had some classes. I only have 3 or 4 Padawans at a time, and it's like they're scared to talk and everything. It's like they've been told, when there's only 3 people in the room, don't say anything. And it's I'm ready to get them back. If not listed already, have you considered listing the items you want? Like list them where, Don? I guess I could put like a wish list. Yeah, in fact, I have some extractors. Um, I need to get a different one because one of them is now, it no longer extracts. I'm not sure what they did to it, but that was in my 10 and 11-year-old class, so there's no telling what they did to those. I do have some desoldering braid, and for a lot of them that seems to work a little bit better. But not sure where you're talking about posting a list up. I do have a website that I don't keep updated often enough. I could do an Amazon wish list, I guess. I hadn't really considered it. I can definitely do that though. But other projects and stuff for kiddos, I keep saying the K word. They're gonna get me. I'm gonna have to go hit the little appeal that decision thing when YouTube gets me again. So I'll do that though, Don. I definitely don't want to inhibit any Santas. And like I said, if you find yourself with an extra radio just sitting around and, you don't have anything to do with it, I know Padawans who are more than willing to learn and use it. So how many kids are in the class? Let's see. I have the class this year. I have 23. And then assuming they let us have after school meetings, I'm not sure. I don't know if they're going to let me or not have after school meetings yet or not, because they're kind of saying no after school clubs right now, but sports are still getting on a bus going places. So I have a feeling maybe that's going to change. If I count all the people that have been licensed and hopefully are going to come to club meetings and stuff like that, I'll be like 40 or so kids, something like that. So obviously they won't all make every club meeting. Some of them have different sports they do and whatnot. But pre-coordinated skeds for kids, is that what you or for the Padawans, Josh? Is that what you're? So yeah, I actually need to get some of those old under construction banners from back in the day. Alden Jones made it right at the end. Appreciate you being here. So, but yeah, that's a good idea. I'll throw a wish list up there. I'm gonna have to rewatch my own live stream to make sure I scrape all the ideas out of there and whatnot. So, but all right, if no one has any other ideas or anything for projects and stuff, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up, guys. I can't tell you how thankful I am for all the financial support and everything that y'all have thrown out towards the Padawans. It's and to the person who has chosen to remain anonymous, who's matching some of those donations, appreciate it. It's amazing what folks will do to try to get new folks on the air, and I'm thankful for that. So, like I said, y'all do me a favor, hit that like button, hit subscribe. I have a last little slide bit that I've tried to keep up for the duration of the stream. I'm not sure if I think I got everybody on here, but let me shrink myself out of the way. Ooh, not that way. And I tried to keep up with who was throwing down donations as we went. So if I miss you, I sincerely apologize. It was rolling extremely fast there at the beginning. But Josh Nass, Kyle Craig, Evan Hartman, Adam Kimberly, Eric Ramirez, Temporary Lifeline, Philip Muth, Don Izzo, Don D. Don D started it out before we even started out. I misspelled your name, Andy. Sorry, I was typing in a hurry. Andy Cowley, Don N5SKT, Steve KO4AFL, Bill Crow, Craig WJ6F, Mike Smith, G0RFD, Dennis 86DM. Don't forget his podcast. click over there. Dan Burak. I know I typed something wrong there. Normal James. Mike K at MRD. Don Izzo. Jason W5 IPA because he likes India Pale Ales. Randall Hensley. Joseph Collins. And Tim W8 Nugget. That's my own interpretation of that. If I missed your name on there, again, I sincerely apologize. I was just trying to keep up as we went. And once again, y'all, thank y'all very much. Y'all take care, and I do hope to see you on the air.